Hi, I'm Luke Schlungen, and today we're going to launch your to-do web app with AI. So let's dive right in. This is a code lab about getting an application to production, a full stack application with Firestore database and Cloud Run deployment. So what does that mean? I know to a lot of builders, the word database can be scary and a deployment doesn't really mean anything. So let's break down those words. So a full stack application, if you've heard that term before, has three parts: a front end, a back end, and a database. A front end, also sometimes known as the user interface, there's a little bit of difference there, but don't worry too much about it, is the part that the user will interact with. So for a website, what I'm seeing right now is the front end. The back end is the part that connects your front end to the database. And the database is where all of the data for your application is stored. So if you have users for your application, that's where the user data would be stored. If you have a list of tasks or to-dos stored in your application, it's stored in the database. So that is what we have Firestore for. It's storing that list of tasks. So if you followed through Lab 1, that was our portfolio website where we just had an informational page. And the information in my portfolio wasn't really changing. That is sometimes called a static website. It didn't have any data that needed to be updated. We weren't adding to the list. We could add a database for like a list of qualifications or something like that, but we weren't. So that did not have a database. This, on the other hand, with our updating list of tasks, this one needs a database. So that's what we'll do in this application. Project setup, again, if you have a billing account, you're all set up. Otherwise, you can try. Most people should have access to activate a credit for this lab. So give that a try if you are able and if you see this prompt right here. So go ahead, use that. It should last for a couple of hours. So how do we create a to-do app in AI Studio build mode? So there are a couple of different ways to get there, but this link will automatically fill in the prompt box for me. So that's the one I'm going to click. It says build a collaborative to-do list application using Firebase as a backend. Users may securely sign in using Google Sign-In. So another important part of having a database is now that we're allowing users to add things into our database, we need to know who those users are and if they have permissions. So almost always, if you have a database, you should have user sign-in and authentication. Historically, this has been really hard to add to an application. You may have heard stories about people taking weeks or even a month to get authentication added to their application. And that was not unusual. But now with AI Studio and with Firebase Auth, this happens so quick. So we'll just do this as a part of our application. I'm just going to click build and we'll let it run. Now, within about 30 seconds to a minute, you'll be prompted, do you want to enable Firebase Firestore? So even though the prompt has detected that we would like to do it, we need to confirm that we would like to use it. And in this case, I'd like to have that database for my to-do app. So I'm going to click enable Firebase Firestore. And there we have a to-do application called TaskFlow. So now it's asking me to sign in with Google. So this is the authentication piece that we talked about. Let's give that a try. I'll click sign in with Google and I'm signed in. It's just that easy to get logged in and add authentication to your application. So let's go ahead and publish this application. We're going to do that the same way we did with our first app. We click publish and we'll say get started and publish your app. This says collaborative task manager -1. I wonder if enough people have been making to-do apps where quite a few of the options have been taken. So I'm going to call this Luke's task manager.ai.studio. So these are vanity domains is what we call them, but they're special domains that you can pick as you get to deploying. Deployment to Google Cloud from AI Studio is typically pretty quick. In my experience, about a minute. And there we are live. So I'm going to click visit. So here we are at my brand new application. This is deployed live to anyone in the world. Could go to Luke's taskmanager.ai.studio. I may close it down before a whole bunch of people see this video, but I'll say sign in with Google. And here we are. I didn't show in the demo over here. So this is a test version here. So I could add a new task over here, like make video, and say create task. And that would be added over here. That's being stored in a database. And now when I go over here to my other tab, I see that same item because this is a database. And not only is it any database, it is Firestore, which has something called real-time sync. So we are synchronizing between our different views. This might not seem all that impressive because we've all seen Google Docs and Google Forms before, but if you've ever built this from scratch, this is really impressive behavior that just sort of comes out of the box when you're using a Firestore database and building within AI Studio. Let's go back to the lab to see if there's anything else that we would like to call out. Test and iterate. So if you do have errors, typically AI Studio can fix them automatically, but I've actually been having trouble demoing this feature because I haven't found as many bugs in these apps. We've deployed to Cloud Run. We clicked Get Started, we clicked Publish App, and now we can inspect in the Firebase console. So because this lab uses Firebase, we can check out the Firebase console. So similar to how in the last lab I called out, we could look at the code, but a lot of people choose not to. The code is available here within AI Studio, and you can see that. But here we also have the Firebase console. So this is inspecting that console, and we can see right here, we've got make video as one of our tasks. And one thing that's really cool about that real-time thing that I mentioned earlier is we could change something directly in our database. So we could say, make a video and make it amazing and say update. Hopefully you'll agree. And when we go back, we'll see that that is automatically updated here in our development version within AI Studio as we're building and in our deployed version as well. And that is our real-time sync. So this is the power of Firestore. Once again, you can clean up the project if you don't want this to be used. And I'm going to do that in this case because I'm a little worried that with a database attached and not adding a whole lot of restrictive permissions around it, I don't know if I want everybody watching this video to have access. So I'm going to go to Publish, and right here I'm going to say Unpublish App. And now that is all it takes to remove my application from the web. So when I go back to refresh, I don't see it there. Nobody else can add a whole bunch of random content to my database. So now I've cleaned up my project, and that is the lab. Don't forget to collect your badge, not only this one for getting to the conclusion, but also visiting this link to claim that completed builder journey badge for your GDP profile. Thanks so much for watching. Happy building.